for a shot, and then I'll sip on
That's
the
good?
Yeah, ready?
Hold
Cheers.
up. Let me get in on this here.
Oh, nice. All right.
Let's do
Cheers.
this. Hey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Jayson Molnar.
All right.
What the hell, man?
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
I'm shooting this, you know.
Episode 15.
It's a good number.
I think we're episode 13.
15?
15? Did
15.
Who was... Okay, Bruce Haley was 14, and
Yeah.
Andrew Moore was 13, I think.
I'll sip the rest. It's good
Okay.
stuff.
Help yourself. You can pour that shit. All you
You're
want.
good. I'm just going to sip the rest. Not
So-
so, getting drunk. I just want to get a little bit of in me. You know?
Yeah.
All right. So we are recording on both devices now. and
Okay.
This has the SD card in it, doesn't it?
Let's double check that. I mean, I'm
right.
sure it does, but
Did I tell you that? Sorry. Did I tell you that I don't? By the way, when I'm with Colby, my mic is everything I've ever done. It's always been to the left.
we can switch it.
So no, it's okay. That's why I keep leaning over like this because I'm like,
Okay.
oh yeah, wait. So
Okay.
no, was I just?
Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
Okay.
It's weird. Even at work, all my stuff sits to my left. Cutting hair. So.
All right. So we ready? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you're not recording yet, are you?
Oh, yeah, we're recording. We could cut it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I've actually never even listened to a podcast.
Oh,
So this is all new for me. So you just coach me
Okay.
on through.
popping the cherry on
right.
all of
We're
it.
just going to have conversations and BS.
Yeah.
I'm curious on who else you've had on this. So feel free to that'll promote some other stuff of yours too. So
Well, yeah, like Bruce Haley was the most recent one,
Yeah.
and then
Dan.
Andrew Moore from
Yeah.
Perpetual Change, Keith Sorrow from the Suburbans,
Keith Sorrow.
Patrick,
Dr. Andrew Moore.
Deanne has been one.
Nice.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been actually quite. This is
did
number
a-
15.
Did
So
a Purple Jam deal where we were backstage interviewing people.
Oh,
That was cool.
Yeah,
need to
Skip.
know- I
Yeah,
need
Skip
to know-
Godley and.
That's
Skip
awesome. I need to
Gottlieb,
know where to go
yeah.
for this. This is awesome.
So so it's
yeah.
15. This is episode 15, and we've been doing this. Actually, this is almost close to the year anniversary.
Yeah, September 28th will be a year.
Is that when we did our
Yep,
first?
That's when it came out.
Oh, that's when it launched. But we did our
Launched.
first interview about a year ago because Patrick,
Yeah,
remember, he came over. It was
right.
August.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and let's make sure we're recording, and yep, we're good. We are live. So here's how
Okay.
we open. It's
Okay.
Oh, come on.
ladies and gentlemen,
Totally pre-recorded Bonner Springs, Kansas.
Kansas City Knights. I'm
Whoa.
Brian Rice,
I'm Shannon Geaver.
and today's guest is none other than the mighty Jayson Molnar, aka Mole.
Mole.
That's me. Yeah.
There you go.
Hey.
90 minutes.
Good to be here.
I mean, I don't know what do you usually lead with when it comes to like when people ask what you did and
the guys that were in 90 minutes, it's kind of bragging rights. So usually that's the first thing I drop. You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of
okay.
like, well, I was in a band with Tyson Leslie and Go-Go Ray and Josh Johnson.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
pretty good.
Oh, well, yeah.
But,
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been doing stuff since. I mean, I just turned 50 a week ago.
yeah,
And,
yes, that's right.
Congratulations.
And
We were there.
I've been in bands since I was 14, and now I just kind of nightingale doing that stuff now. So
Yes.
no, it's I'm not really doing anything right now currently, but
I don't know about that.
I mean off and
you're-
on. That's what I
yeah.
mean. I just kind of every once in a while, like I did a birthday gig because I wanted to play with Colby recently,
Yeah,
and I mean
yeah.
every once in a while, like last night, went and saw the Winnebagos at.
Did you jam with them last night?
I did a couple songs up on stage.
All right.
But what's funny is I don't do it much anymore. So when I get up there on stage, a lot of people are like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy?" You know?
One thing I noticed about you, Jayson, is that if somebody catches wind that you're going to be jamming with somebody, you pack the house. Now Murphy's Corner on Thursday night, they could do good business, but of your 50th birthday party, that place was
it?
pretty full.
I don't get there very often. I don't usually go
Yeah.
up there, so I don't know how full they usually
Hey, I've
get.
been to a Stolen Water Lion show where you were going to be singing, and you brought people in. That's for sure. So
Remember those days? Yeah.
Like I said, and that's what I was saying is that I've been doing stuff since I was about 14. At about 28, 29, I quit the original stuff and just kind of focused all on covers.
Is that just kind of the same reason that everybody does, just to make money? It's more worth your time to do something that you get paid.
Yeah, you know, something pretty unfortunate happened when I was on the road with one of my original bands, and we had a lot of our money stolen from a manager that really wasn't truly. I mean, he played manager for a couple of years, and then he just took everything and ran.
Wow. Okay.
And they continued on, and I decided I'm done. About a year after that, I got hungry again, and that's when I just started finding jam nights around town, and that's how I met a lot of the guys. I already knew Colby for years, but that's how I met the guys from the Winnebago.
So this was like around 2003 then, 2002?
Yeah, about 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess a little bit of
good
background.
memory, man. I'm like,
well, I'm just doing the math in my head. You're a year younger than me, and if you were 28, that puts it at 2002.
There you go. All right.
So. And if he'll go when he goes to his pictures, you know he's going to find what year it was.
Right. Yeah, I'm locked out of my old MySpace, so I can't find any of that stuff.
Oh, hey.
I'm still in MySpace, but everything's blank.
What?
I still have a MySpace, but you go in there and there's like these blank icons for these old files that used to be there.
No.
So it's like whatever they were are gone. You know, I can't get in. You know,
that's a shame.
But
a lot of memories from there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, and before anybody really knew what social media was going to become, it was just sort of a gag at the
right. Yeah.
I guess let's go back to the beginning, and I realized that I'm not sure if I knew or know where you were born. I mean, are you a lifelong Kansas City area like
Kansas City proper. I was out of my control, but I was born and raised in Prairie Village. So
okay, all right. Okay.
No, I don't brag the Johnson County Brights, but yeah,
right.
That's kind of,
okay. All right. So 14 would have put you at 1988. So
okay, where'd you go to high school then?
Bishop Miege grad.
Oh shit! All right, so you're over.
I did. The majority of I'd say 95% of my friends went to Shine Machiniste, and I begged my mom for years to go there, and I was like, "Why won't you let me go?" And she said, "Because all your friends go there. That's why you're not going there." Yeah. So it's just one of those things.
The Corinth area over there.
Yeah. Prairie Village Shopping Center.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure those no skateboards on the sidewalk signs were put there because of me.
Because of you. All right, so you're a skater. So now, have you always been you're a singer. You're a really good singer, by the way.
Thank you.
Is that kind of where it started for you?
I was a classical singer for years growing up. I was the first... I was the first freshman in my high school to ever make something called the Madrigal Singers, which was only a junior-senior group. I took opera my 8th grade year, and that's a lot of people have said in the past that they're like, you push too hard when you sing. And I was like, I don't really push too hard. I do it like an opera singer. Like that's where my push comes from. That's where that power comes from.
So did that require formal training?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did not take voice lessons. I did not take singing lessons. I took opera lessons.
Okay.
And it was for breathing. It was for push and all that stuff. And it was actually my father that had me do that.
Okay. And that pretty much can apply to any kind of singing then, or I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Because I've been singing since I was a little kid. I mean, I was always like the lead in our little plays in school and musicals and all that stuff. As I got older, I just really, really wanted to be in bands. I just wanted to be a rock star. And my mom actually refused to go to any of my shows because she was like, I don't like what you do to your voice. Like, stop doing that to your voice. I'm not doing anything to my voice. She goes, no, we didn't pay for you to. So it was one of those things. So I think after all those years of original bands and cover bands, she saw me once or twice, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think ever. And it was towards the end of like the 90 Minutes deal.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. Now, so you started taking opera lessons at what age then?
For 13.
13, okay.
13, 14,
okay.
something like that.
Boy.
So that's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. Yeah. Like, how long did you take those lessons?
About a year.
About a year.
So,
okay.
10 months to a year. Yeah.
Now, was your dad I apologize.
Okay.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes.
Was your dad a singer then?
Yes.
Opera singer?
No.
Okay.
He was like freelance singer, never a band, everything. And my father actually was a pro boxer. But he could sing. He listened to like Dean Martin, Perry Como, Frank Sinatra, and he listened to a lot of opera, like the Three Tenors and Placido Domingo and Luciano Pavarotti and stuff. Yeah. I listened to like Van Halen under my covers with a little transistor radio when I was like in the 6th grade, you know? So it's like And my parents wanted to be. My mom was all about the Beatles and all about Hermits and the Turtles and stuff like that. And so they didn't really get along on music. But yeah, my father, I would hear him in the shower in the he built his own bathroom in the basement, and I would hear him in the shower just just crazy.
Wow.
Loud. I was like,
so is your dad still alive? Your mom and dad still alive?
No, they passed.
Okay,
they passed.
What's your dad's name?
James.
James.
Jim.
So did he build
Jimmy.
that shower, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Did he build that shower specifically to kind of be soundproof?
You know, I don't think so, but I have memories. One of my very first memories, and honestly, if it wasn't you guys, you have to like imagine your father, okay? Because this sounds really creepy when you put it into words. But my dad, when I was a little kid, I'd come home. It's earlier. One of my first memories. I would come home for preschool, and he was like, "What did you learn to sing today?" I'm like, "Jesus loves me." And he would be like, "Okay, let's go downstairs." And he put me up on his bathroom counter and close the door and take his little yellow tape recorder, and he'd push play, and he'd have me record "Jesus Loves Me," like because of all the acoustics in that bathroom were supposedly like just phenomenal.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I don't know where those tapes are today. I would love to find them. But
That'd be great. That'd be great.
There's nothing creepy about that. But I guess in this day and age, that
yeah, it's kind of weird. When, come on down to my bathroom, son. Put me on the
Hey. You know what? It got you to be a singer, didn't it?
He did. He honestly, I almost wasn't because he pushed me really hard, like really hard. Like I was in Annie at Starlight when I was a little kid.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I was
you perform. Oh,
yeah, but I was
Like Hard Knock Life.
yeah, I was one of those kids.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like very short. It was like I think stage time was maybe 4 minutes total. But I and then I was in Sound of Music, same type of thing. At Starlight when I was a kid.
Were you was it Von Trapp with one of the Von Trapp?
I
kids, or?
don't remember. I was a kid. I was a kid in a crib, dude. Like I mean, I think I was.
So
like,
this is like 76, 77.
yeah, it was 70s for sure.
Okay.
I was probably like 79 maybe, but anyway, no, he wanted me to be a singer, wanted me to be an actor, all this kind of stuff, and I was like, I really didn't want to, and because he pushed so hard and. I just kind of lost interest. And so my first band, I said I've been singing since I was 14. I actually sang backup and played bass. I was a bass player for years.
So when did you take bass lessons then? Is it just something you picked up and just kind of figured it out?
My grandfather bought me a bass when I was about 14 because I was interested. I was always playing like fake guitar on baseball bats and stuff. And he bought me a bass and a bass amp, and I started playing bass. And then this little kid, my best friend's little brother, he was 5 years old, heard me playing bass, was super interested in it. His parents bought him a little toy drum set, and then later that kid ended up buying my bass, and his name's Colby Gile.
I knew
I'll
that.
be a son of a gun.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So he surpassed me. I actually taught him, and he will back this up. And I'm saying this on camera. He actually I taught him how to play a Green Day song. And about a week later, I show up to his house and I hear him in the basement playing like Primus, and I was like, "You're taking you're taking my bass, you're taking my amp," and I stopped and I started singing lead because my lead singer was gone for the day, and we just went without. I couldn't play bass and sing at the time really very well, lead, and so I didn't play bass. I just sang lead, and they ended up getting rid of the lead singer and had me sing lead for him. So that's kind of how that all started. I really, really like that stage time, and a lot of people back then, I don't know if they still felt this, but back then they were, even when I wasn't feeling music, they're like, there's just a energy or something you put out that makes us just stare at you when you're on stage. And I was like, okay. So, and a lot of people have always,
it's true.
Yeah,
a lot of people
still do it, man.
A lot of people have said like, you're born to be a lead singer. So I don't know about
Front
that.
man, lead singer. Yeah.
Right. Entertainer. How about that?
All right.
When you and Colby were singing, doing stuff for your birthday at Murphy's Corner, it was funny. It was entertaining. You guys were going back and forth, and your banter. It was good stuff.
People say that a lot, and I think Brian's seen us a handful of times. That is because we grew up together. Like my best friend is his. Basically.
So where did he live then in the neighborhood? Like a couple blocks over? Or?
No, I met his brother Eric at Prairie Village swimming pool.
Okay.
And he was like
that.
skateboarding with some friends, and I was just like, my father had just passed, and I was just hanging out to hang out, and he asked me for a ride somewhere, and I gave him a ride. And
so this was like you were 16, old enough to drive at that point, and that's
I was 16, he was 13.
And so your dad passed away when you were 16, then.
Yes and no. My father actually he was sick for a while.
Okay.
He had MS, so he ended up.
Okay.
So when I say he was in a nursing home at that point. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he passed away in '95, actually. So
Okay.
So yep.
Huh. And so then, what were you in? Like a Camaro? Were you?
No, it was a 1977 Chevy Chevette.
Oh well. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's the reason. It's a sensible car.
Yeah. No, but no, I met Colby. I don't really remember when, but he was just the little rowdy brother that was always tinkering around with wires and sprinkler systems in his parents' backyard, and it was just a little genius that he is.
Yeah.
Right.
And no, it's pretty obvious the way he has his setup. Him and Trevor Gorman as well. They both do a really good job.
Yeah, it runs in his family. His whole family, just a whole family of geniuses. Like his brother is on a whole different type of level. He's a carpenter, but he's just got. I mean, he sees geometry. It's just it's crazy.
Huh.
So,
Wow. Okay. Nice. So, what was the first band that you were in that you played in front of people? What was the name of that?
Tornado Alley.
At Tornado Alley? Or
that speaks to another
Okay.
Factoid about Mole, his love of tornado.
Oh boy, just weather in general.
Yeah, weather.
But now they've got a
right.
progressive commercial out that they're making fun of all the guys that are loving weather. Have you seen this? Oh, it's the doctor guy. It's like, don't be your parents. You've seen this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've got a new one where it's all about guys bragging about weather. Well, it looks like it's going to rain outside. Yeah. And that's totally been me for years. No, I was actually a storm chaser for a while, but
Oh, really?
yeah, licensed. Yeah.
Okay. Where were you chasing storms then?
Well, because we were licensed, we had an area we had to stay within.
All right. I didn't know that.
Territory.
But
But yeah. Yep. I did it with my brother. So,
Nice.
And then when he passed away, I just kind of retired from that. But yeah.
That's it. Well, you're on the run when you're doing that. I lived in Oklahoma for 3 years, and I saw my one and only tornado I've ever seen, and it scared the living daylights out of me. So,
if you saw another one, I could guarantee you wouldn't be as scared.
okay, all right. I don't know. I'm pretty.
He'll
freaked
text
out.
you. He'll be ready to text you as soon as that happens. Yeah. You motherfucker. Wasn't any better.
Yeah, right. I'm not gonna go looking for him.
Can you swear on this podcast?
Oh yeah.
Yes, no problem. You can drink whiskey too.
I'm drinking
not a
the
whole
whiskey.
bunch
This is
of
good stuff. This is bourbon.
Yes, indeed.
Good stuff.
We won't mention the name because
Allegedly.
It's
But we haven't got
allegedly
shut down for the
Old
other
Forester.
times we've promoted.
Well, if you said the name, maybe they would sponsor you.
That'd be, hey,
They,
So-
Brian would love that.
Speaking of sponsorships, this is kind of interesting.
there we go, right?
And I don't know how many bands listen to this podcast.
Old
out there.
Forester 86
None.
proof. Yeah.
They should.
Nobody.
They should. So
Some do,
I was in.
yeah.
So when I wasn't officially a member of the Stolen Winnebagos, but I was part of their beginning. Okay, so when they started getting together and doing stuff at Jerry's Bait Shop and all that, I started singing with them. After that didn't necessarily work out because all three of them could sing and were uber talented. They didn't need a lead singer. They had Trevor for a little bit.
Yeah, right.
I spun off into a band. We played a gig at a place called King City Music, and Zach Kaufman owned that music store. He was in a band called Overture with it was a hard metal
Okay.
band. Chris Hedberg and Gentry Jackson, the drummer and the other guitarist. Zach played bass. He was like, I really want to do a cover band, and I was like, I this isn't work. I mean, I'll still get on stage with these guys, but this isn't really my band. So let's start something then. So we did a hardcore cover band. And we named it Billygoat Pornstar.
Oh, hey, there we go.
There it is.
There it is.
At about what year was this? Then?
No,
if
It
you
was 2003, 2000, between 2003 and 2006.
Yeah. And that band, we were only together for about a year and a half. And it felt like a lifetime because we were packing every show we played. And it was insane.
Yes.
And we were
Yes.
hardcore. We played anywhere from System of the Down to Slayer. I mean, it was all over the board.
and who was in
And
the band at that point?
It was Zach Kaufman,
Okay.
Gentry Jackson, Chris Hedberg, and myself.
and who was on what instruments? I don't know them all.
I had said that a minute ago.
Oh, I was doing some stuff.
Hey,
Sorry,
we'll
never-
do that.
What's
we'll
that?
do that.
Sorry,
we'll do
I'm-
that from time to time.
I'm like monitoring.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm posting us on Facebook. So
Thank you. for
Hey,
that, Brian.
great.
Appreciate you.
So
Yeah,
my
so-
brain wasn't committed to the
No,
conversation.
you're good. You're good, bro.
No, Zach was on bass, and he's a phenomenal bass player. I think he's currently in like 2 other bands now.
Okay.
Gentry was the drummer, and Chris Hedberg was the guitar player.
Okay.
And there was a point to that, and I already forgot. Basically, I spun off from them to get into Billygoat Pornstar.
Okay.
And from there, I got into Goodnight Nobody with Tyson Leslie and Josh Johnson.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of people. And then from there, 90 Minutes.
Is that you singing right up there?
That's some old footage from circa 2009, 2010.
The old Jerry's?
That's Jerry's Bait Shop, Lee
Wow.
Summit.
Lee Summit, yeah.
I haven't seen decent old.
That's you,
really
right?
long time. Yeah, that's me.
Got short hair.
So for
Giving
people,
a blowjob to the microphone there.
so for people who can't see, Shannon's got old 90 minutes videos from
that's right.
YouTube playing on the big screen.
You don't have
behind
the,
this camera.
You don't have the camera pointed at the TV.
Nah,
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not.
They don't care.
No, good.
Just imagine a
Yeah.
TV screen over Mole's
Right.
right shoulder. Anyway,
It
So-
looks like I don't even know where you found this because Gogo's just standing there.
no, that's Jerry's.
Yeah, but what's weird is it doesn't. I don't know where you found this video because it,
Oh, that's September 7th. That's the day I shot the Go-Go. Remember those photos of you guys out
Yeah,
behind?
yeah.
That's that night.
See, I'm
Oh,
telling you.
Because that's everybody's outfits that they're wearing.
He can figure
night.
that out. He's a genius that
well,
way.
that shirt Go-Go's wearing kind of has become iconic as a result of that photo I took.
I would
of him.
literally rip out of the shirt I was wearing on that stage today. Like, there's no way in hell.
I used to go to Spivey's and see. So when this is actually I worked for Farmers Insurance. At that time, I was traveling with them, and so I'd come into town and go up to Spivey's and see you guys, and had no idea that you were part of that band until later.
we pissed off
Years
a lot of local.
Really?
Yes,
a
big
lot
time.
of
Because
who?
we legitimately, and a lot of bands, I'm not saying they don't, a lot of bands have a lot. Oh, I remember I was going with that. We were talking sponsorships. Remind me in a minute. We're talking about that. A lot of bands got angry because Darren, that owned Spivey's at the time, he really wanted to have bands but didn't have the revenue for it yet. And we were legitimately 110% doing it for fun. At the time, I was working for Sprint. Zach had a pretty good job. Chris had a great job. Gentry had a great job. We didn't need the money. And so we literally, I went up to Darren one day. I was like, we'll play for free. I was like, we'll pull in all these people, bring you money.
Yeah.
And once we play for free, other bands will want to play, and then you can just like not charge a cover and just get people in here and just make it a very popular joint. And we did a couple gigs for free, and then he started paying us, but we only made like $200 like a show
total.
Wow, for the whole band, yeah.
The whole band. And I mean, we split it even too. And
$50 a night.
yes. And so then all these bars were trying to hire like bands like
At the same price point.
like this uber talented bands like the Winnebagos, trying to hire them at $200, $300, $400.
well, they're over
like,
there playing for $200. Why should we pay you $500?
Yeah, exactly. And we were doing that with every bar we played at. Like we played at Kobe's, and I don't know if that place is still around.
Yep.
Okay.
Here in Bonner Springs.
Played there a bunch, and we were hands down the cheapest band that played there, and we packed it more than any other band that played there.
You didn't even like collect tips from people. Like you didn't have a tip jar to at least
No.
make something.
Nope. We played a gig just to get people to know who we were at River Market. At the River Market outside, they had like this. I don't even know what it was. We were the only band that played, and it was just why.
Actually,
I don't know.
I saw in the River Market area where the City Market, the Killers played an outdoor show there in 2007.
Wow.
Are you sure?
Dang.
Absolutely, because I was there. And
You
it
did.
was
You 100% saw them.
at the City Market in May of 2007.
You
I
bastard.
promise you. I was
Man.
right
Okay,
there.
and this was post Billygoat Pornstar.
I mean,
Because-
that's 2007, so I don't. Maybe I don't
Because we played a couple killer songs,
Okay.
and there were people back then that rushed over because they thought we were the Killers.
Oh, okay.
And
I wonder if it was the same.
and that's what I'm saying. A lot of people came over, and then they were like, "Oh wait, this.
Well, no,
God,
you
these
would've-
guys are spot on."
You
So-
would have known
ish.
because it was so packed in full in that entire vicinity that
Oh, it was packed.
It was like everything about it. I mean, I can't even remember where we parked. It was just a crazy. But if you've ever been to the river market for like a farmer's market, where the farmer's market is, and those,
Yeah, dude.
That's exactly in that. There's an open space.
No, I know exactly. This is post Billygoat Pornstar anyway. Actually, I saw Offspring there when they did Offspring
nice.
was at City Mark. I saw I think Incubus even played up there at one point.
And they did that for like a summer or something like that. And,
I saw Judas Priest there. I saw Weezer there.
You did? Judas Priest at City Market?
At City Market.
Really?
Yeah. Swear to God, man.
I wish I would have gone. I wish I would have known that.
Yeah. They did Green Monolishi.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, but that's post Billygoat. So let's switch back to sponsorships.
Yeah, so I was going to say, if any, like 10 minutes ago, if any band is listening, what we did in Billygoat Pornstar is we started contacting all these companies that just for no reason at all. We were just like, hey, do you want to sponsor us? Why? I mean, don't you want your name out there? Okay. So we started getting free, like, drumsticks. We started getting free guitar strings, free bass strings from all their favorite companies. And because of that, we were able to put sponsored by on all our posters. So it made us look way more better than we were.
Legitimate.
Like super professional. And it was kind of brilliant. I want to say it was Chris's idea that did that. So
where and whose idea was the name? Billygoat Pornstar.
It was a cross between, we had, just like any other band, when you write a bunch of stuff down on a piece of paper and you go down, and it was a MySpace days, and we kind of had not a competition or a contest, but we had like, hey, help us out with the names. And I can't remember what it was, but I really don't, I'm going to make this up, but it was something like, I don't know, Billygoat Train Wreck or something like that. And then somebody was like Pornstar Fighting or something like that, and we just were like, we kind of like Billygoat Pornstar because we could do like a pink star and put like a really goofy cartoon Billygoat face in the middle, and we did. The only person that wasn't a fan of that was Go-Go Ray, because he was in a band called Billygoat.
Oh,
and
sure.
Billygoat is
right.
Yeah, a lot of people know that band.
Yeah.
So
they're not one and the same, and it's a matter.
So
of fact,
a lot of people, and he was right. He predicted that a lot of people would be calling us Billygoat, and so whenever people would be like Billygoat, so what we started doing was calling it BGPS, and so and you remember that, Brian?
That was before.
Oh, it was. I met you around the 90-minute stage.
Yes,
because I kind of didn't I get you in to take the pictures? Wasn't
Tyson did? Tyson. It was a Brooksider show, January 2009.
Okay,
and that was the first time we met in person.
Okay,
but you'd become familiar on my radar because I remember back it was still the MySpace days, and I think as it turned out, it was the old singer for 90 Minutes who later find out is Bill Cameron. Before I met him either, but Tyson did this. He did this thing to make it like this big American Idol style contest, like who's going to be the new singer for 90 minutes, and every week he like update the MySpace thing.
It's been 20 years. Am I allowed to say what really went down?
But I'm gonna yes you can can but let me tell you my
go ahead. No, go ahead,
because I'd be seeing that pop up on the MySpace bulletin. Remember those? That was their version of the wall. They had a bulletin, and Tyson would like 90 minutes, and he kind of structured it like it's a American Idol kind of who's gonna be the winner, and then who's the finalist, and then finally it was like, and the winner is the Mole, and it was the Mole at the time.
Mole.
Damn right,
the Mole. And then
for a long time I didn't even like people calling me Jason. I mean, now that I'm like retired, I would like prefer everybody, but the people that still call me Mole, like yourself, it's a respect thing. I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I don't like anybody new calling me like Mole. But
and of course the nickname came from your last name,
right?
Molnar.
Yeah. Right. Well, it kind of, there's a story to Mole actually. There's a story to that.
That's not just your last name.
No. Yeah. Well, it is, but so Mole has been around for years, since I was 14, 15. But it was like the Mole, or no, it wasn't the Mole. So basically, let me see if I go back. I was in a band, and one of our players was about 4 years older than me, and he had a bunch of high school friends, and he just kind of made fun of the little guys. And one of the guys asked me what my name was, and I was like, Jayson Molnar. He's like, all right, Mr. Moleman. I was like, Mole Man or something like that. The next week, we showed up to do some jamming, and they said, I'm trying to think of this as I'm going. I have not told this story in years. He basically was like, he called me Moleman instead of like Mole Man. And I was like, no, it's Molnar. He's like, I like Moleman better. I'm like, please don't call me Moleman. And so it became a running joke for years that everybody was just calling me Moleman. Well, that kind of faded out and died off. But remember, again, let's backtrack. My best friend, Eric Gile, Colby's brother, I go over to Colby's house years later, around the time I'm doing the Jerry stuff. I'm like, and Colby was like, weren't you like the mole or something? I'm like, yes, I was the mole. And that's how it was like reborn again, was because Colby like said that as like a little, like a younger kid. I mean, he was, what was he, like 17, 18, 20 at the time or something.
Did he still have that mohawk haircut?
No, the mohawk.
He had long straight
mohawk
hair.
came from me, actually.
Oh,
because that is my day job now.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
sure.
we'll get
right.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to
that.
We'll get to that.
So, well, what's the story of the 90 minutes? What went down with 90 minutes?
I was hoping we forgot about that.
No.
So that was to backtrack a little bit. When I left Billygoat Pornstar, I may have been the one that ended that, because I was approached by, like, me and Josh Johnson. I had met him at Jerry's, and we had talked about starting a band called Goodnight Nobody. It was going to be me, Josh Johnson. Have you interviewed Lindsay Lou yet?
No.
Okay. So anyway, this girl named Lindsay Lou, phenomenal singer.
Oh yeah, I know her.
Okay, handful of people, and it was going to be a completely different format than what you're familiar with, and it was it was funny because Tyson kind of got wind of this and decided, okay, I've got an idea for 90 minutes. And he had all these connections, and we started playing the Hurricane like as a weekly gig all the time. Remind me again the question.
Oh, the 90 minutes. How you became singer 90 minutes.
So I was in Goodnight Nobody. I knew I'd forget that. I was in 90 minutes or Goodnight Nobody, and went over to 90 minutes to like watch them with Bill, and Tyson had told me, he was like, you're going to be our new lead singer. And I was like, okay, because it was like a crossover thing. But he was like, but we're going to make it look like it's a competition.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know if this is how they do it on TV or not, but it was pretty weird because I felt kind of bad because there were so many people that thought they were like in, and I was like,
oh, so he like,
he knew from the beginning. He 100%, the whole band was like, the band he had gotten together, like 100% he built. He was like, this is the band, but we are going to audition singers. But
publicly,
Mole, you're going to be our singer, kind of thing. And
what if he told that to all the other singers?
He might have.
You're the one.
Oh, you know?
I mean, he might. When people hear this, when you're 14 billion listeners, you know, that whole crowd that you had at the beginning, when they hear this, you know, he'll probably come back and say that. He'll like, yeah, we told that to everybody.
We'll ask him. Hopefully, we get to ask him one of these days.
But I remember just seeing all the updates as to and then finally, like, the winner is going to be announced next week, and then it was just like, it's the Mole. And I'm like, oh, okay.
The Mole.
The Mole.
Okay.
I like it. I'm a fan of the Mole because it. There was somebody that talked about. There was an article that was going to be written, never happened. The pitch, and one of the reasons why they thought I was called the Mole is because I'm actually, as outgoing as I am on stage, I'm actually pretty damn shy, and you have to kind of wake it up, and then I'm an extrovert, but I'm pretty much an introvert. Even during 90 minutes, like, I'd go on breaks and I'd sit in my car until break was over. Like, I didn't really like to hang out with people much. And it was I don't know. Anyway, I don't.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But whatever gets you through, you know?
Yeah.
Shoot. How are you nowadays when you're jamming? Are you
same?
In between sets, you're not going to the car, though. I mean, I think we've talked to you.
Yeah, no, I still walk around. It's fine. That's different. The acoustic thing, I don't black out like I do every time I'm on stage.
Well, how are your vocal cords? Because I remember that was an issue at one point.
It still is.
So so something about they are just getting too worn out over.
No, I had horrifyingly terrible acid reflux and didn't realize it was eroding my esophagus for years.
Oh yeah,
and it eroded my esophagus and spilled into because the esophagus was gone. It spilled into my larynx and burned holes in my larynx. That doesn't repair itself. Your esophagus does. And so I have these microscopic holes in my larynx, and so if I sing too long, they start stretching, or talk, they start stretching out, and then I start getting really whispery. And a lot of people who know me have heard that. like when I talk too much or sing too much, stuff like that. But
how did you find that out? Because your voice was being affected,
Yes.
and so you went to the doctor.
yes,
And did an upper GI, I assume, or whatever.
that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, dang. They have pictures. I don't know.
I don't
Do
know.
they show you? Hey, this is
I don't
no.
know.
Sorry.
But yeah, they told me I was like, so what's the cure? What's the surgery? And they said, no surgery unless you want to go to Europe. It's like stem cells. It's the only thing that'll cure it. So I don't know. That was back then. I don't know. Maybe they could do it now. I don't know. But I'm not too concerned.
Okay, but you don't have that issue. But the way
Nope.
you sing in the acoustic shows is a different.
No, I
type
still lose my voice. I mean, I what Colby knows, and every once in a while he'll crank me up throughout the whole show. Like he like as I'm singing, he'll start just slowly turning me up as the show gets closer
compensate.
to the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because as that wind starts coming through that larynx, it kind of sounds down.
Is there any concoction you can drink or anything to help you?
Jaeger, lots of Jaeger.
Oh, there you go.
just kidding.
You can puke black later as well. That'll help your lyrics.
or whiskey. It's breaking me up now. I'll tell you that.
Hey,
So, your out of all the bands that you were part of, it sounds like 90 Minutes might have been the one that went the longest. Do you think?
Not when it comes to the original stuff, but yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
90 minutes did go the longest. Yes.
Okay. And then as an original,
No.
wait.
No, if you want to count Colby and Mole Unplugged, that's the longest.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, we're
sure.
rolling up on like 15
That's
years on
still
that.
a
Sure.
ongoing.
There's
thing.
that.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of. I'm talking like a full band setup.
Yeah.
On the weekends kind of thing. When you did the original stuff, I mean, what kind of music was that?
I still write. I just yeah,
Okay.
I still
didn't
write.
know you wrote.
Yeah, I
Nice.
wall. Well, I play guitar, bass, basic drums, like stuff like
All
that.
right.
I'm surrounded by too many good musicians, so I'm like embarrassed
Yeah.
to grab the
Well-
guitar in front of
Right.
anybody. But no, I still write, and I've always written. It's always been basically the same. It's very poppy. It's a very pop. Right? Even though I grew up a deep hardcore rooted metalhead. Like, and I mean when I say metal, I mean metal. I don't mean like
He might know something.
I
bands.
Metallica. Yeah.
What? Who?
I wasn't like meaning like Metallica. I mean like
Okay, yeah.
Obituary, like Slayer,
sure.
Carcass, Dead
Okay.
Horse.
Yeah,
like
I
stuff
know
like
you
that.
are. That is pretty.
Yeah,
death
and
metal, yeah.
if it was
I
up
was
to
waiting-
me, those were the kind of bands I would have been in. But I can't. I
God.
can't gravel. I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Right.
but,
that wasn't
um,
even really a thing back then to
No, but
throat sing like that.
but what's
or
weird is
whatever.
being a singer. Was that me or you?
I don't know. What were we talking about?
What happened?
I don't know. I heard a phone. Anyway, I
No.
Anyway.
no, yeah. So I don't know. That's about it. I mean, I just
where did you play then? Like when you were like Westport, I'm assuming, and back in that would have been in the 90s when you were doing that, right?
which
The original stuff.
oh yeah. We played Lone Star like back in the day and stuff like that.
Hey, yeah, sure. Well, you'd mentioned the hurricane as well, so I automatically
Well, the
reminisced
Hurricane was
about-
Goodnight Nobody and stuff like that. But no, I was playing the Lone Star before I was old enough to play.
Okay.
So I was
In what? In
I
Not
don't know if
Billygoat
I don't know if
Pornstar.
no. It was the original stuff, and I don't know if I can drop those names honestly right now. But I mean, I was a part of Hooligan Scream. I was a part of Blind Fate. I was a part of a band called Legend. I mean, there's a handful of
Okay.
of original bands. But when the Lone Star was around, the door guy, Small World, was Craig Summy actually, and
wow.
he would be the guy to let me in while I'd go to jump up on stage.
Okay.
And then I'd have to exit immediately. I couldn't. I'd be going through the back
Right,
door
yeah.
and I'd exit immediately. And sometimes it was winter. My mom would pick me up and yeah.
no hanging out at the bar talking to Star or whatever. Was she one of the bartenders there?
I don't remember that.
Star being
Oh, what's her Star? Never mind.
Huh. That's crazy. I didn't know
Never
she
mind.
bartended there.
not.
That's crazy.
I don't think you don't mean Tyson Star. Or a different Star.
You know what? Well,
altogether.
never mind.
Oh,
Let's
no.
move on. Let's move forward.
Okay.
By the way, I just looked back. That was me. I'm going to mute this.
Oh, it was his phone.
Yeah, my phone has a history of. I
Okay.
heard it and I was like, "That's crazy." It has a history of going. Once it goes off, it starts
That's
going
crazy.
like crazy. So I'm just going to mute this whole thing.
That's crazy.
There you go.
I remember you talking about how because you had a job during 90 minutes, a day job, and then And you'd be playing, it felt like 90 Minutes was playing like 4 nights a week at one point, 4 or 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
Are you transitioning into my cancer? Is that what you're doing right now?
No. Well, not yet. I was just going to get some more detail about the life.
That is 1,000%. I think what caused that.
The lifestyle.
Oh, really?
1,000%. 100.
How
I mean,
so?
I guaranteed. Because I played 7 nights a week.
And you were just exhausted.
Maybe
and,
6.
And,
And I worked, at that point in time, I was a senior analyst for Sprint. And they knew that I was in bands, but I still was productive. But I would live on 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep a night. And it was bad. And I had no time to eat. I had no time. And so I was living, and I'm not joking, I was living on Quick Trip hot dogs. And it was like my breakfast would be a couple Quick Trip hot dogs with no buns. My lunch would be Quick Trip hot dogs. My dinner would be Quick Trip hot dogs with like the relish and I'd put chips on it. I'd like make it a meal, and I ate like that for about 4 years, nonstop.
Oh my God.
And everybody was like, "You look so young and you're so healthy and I'm like, you're so ripped." I was like, I don't know what's going. I think it's because my dad was a boxer. It's genetics or something, because I've never seen a gym in my life. So yeah, it's yeah.
And it caught up to you is what
I think so. I think that's what gave. And I asked the doctor, I was like, "Is this genetic?" And he was like, "No, testicular cancer is it's a entity of its own." And,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And just the stress and the strain on your body would
It
wear
was
you down.
that was bad, because like really bad, because I was jumping around on stage so much that I actually thought that I wounded myself. I actually thought that pain I had was because I was jumping around like a maniac on stage. So I just let it go, and found out later that it metastasized and a tumor had grown and it had gotten to my lymph nodes. It was stage 3, and that's why I had to.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So if you hadn't been a performer, you may have caught it sooner. That pain would have been highly unusual and
probably
unrelatable to anything.
Probably. I mean,
but being a lead singer, wow.
I will say that Tyson Leslie was an angel during that whole thing. He didn't want me to leave the band while I was doing all my chemo and stuff, but he knew that I probably potentially would have to, and he said, "We're going to write." He wrote every set list, he wrote every single set list, and I can't fathom this now. He would write he'd write 2 set lists, so like knowing that like I could get really sick the night we were performing, and then have to completely redo it. So he would have 2 set lists. So he'd have a set list for me, and he would give me time off in case something happened. Because I remember specifically there were 2 or 3 nights there at like Lee Summit where I was playing at that Jerry's Bait Shop, and I would just put it all out there, and I'd get done and get nauseous, and I'd go to the bathroom and throw up, and I'd come back.
There's you right up there. I mean, is that one?
Oh, that's old. That's old. That's early days.
Okay. All right.
I think I'm doing Jeremy there.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Pearl Jam Jeremy.
you really gave it your all then during that time.
I always give it my all, man.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, what was the most fun band that you're? I mean, is it all just blend together and is kind of the same thing, or is there one that's like, man, I really miss those days? Is there any?
Honest to God, it wasn't even my band. It was the Stolen Winnebagos.
Really?
It's home for me. When I play with those guys, I mean, I do miss a couple of the original stuff, but being a lead singer, you're doing a lot more work. I mean, you're literally managing a band. Singing with those guys, especially back in the day when I did a lot more, like dressing up, wearing the fedora, like coming out with the, that was a lot of fun. They used to dress up too, so I'd come out as like a lumberjack and wear like a sleeveless shirt open on stage, and like it was just funny.
So these are just full shows you were doing with them, or were they guest spots?
They were they were guest spots, but they were a number of songs.
And
But
he
it
was
was planned,
packing the
basically.
place.
And this is
Packing
the
place
Bagos.
just because of his name. Well, and Stolen Winnebagos. But
So yeah, I enjoy it, man.
Awesome.
I enjoy it.
So,
Go ahead.
I was gonna. So the whole cancer diagnosis was around winter of 2009, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was diagnosed. I don't remember. My years are so off. I was diagnosed in October and I can't remember the year.
Okay.
That might have been 2009. And then, and my surgery was in May of 2010.
Okay.
So I know that. And then a year later, I did a like a comeback thing, and I did a tribute to Pearl Jam.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
that was 2011.
And
Yep, I was there.
And that gig was it 11?
I was there. Yeah.
So would have been 2 years later then, and that's that was something else. That was a phenomenal show for me. But that was an anniversary. That was on May 20th.
Okay.
And my surgery was on May 20th. So
okay.
like 2 years prior. So.
And then, but by that point, he pretty much had left 90 Minutes and was, because they replaced you with somebody else, and Tyler
Lyon. I mean, I don't know how they didn't grow more. Like, that guy's voice is one of the most, I mean, in my opinion, he probably has he's one of the best vocalists in Kansas City. Yeah. Like, honest to God.
What's the name of his old original band that he was also?
Oh my God. I don't know.
Doesn't it start with an A?
No. Well,
he had.
Wasn't it like, it was like not the Cowardly Lions, but it was something like that. It was like, that's
Alien
where it came
Ant
from.
Farm or something?
No,
that's an actual real band.
Yeah, that's
like
I can't
big time
remember.
band.
I
Sorry,
can't
a real
big.
band. Not.
I can't remember, but it was my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember right now.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah.
So then
he's something else, man. I remember telling someone one time, I was like, Tyler Lyon, in my opinion, best voice in Kansas City. Like, there's a lot of good singers, and whoever I was talking to, and I don't remember. I feel like it was you. I don't think it was, but
we've had this conversation. I remember
possibly, and someone said to me, they said, Mole, he may be the best vocalist in Kansas City. He may have the best voice in Kansas City, but what you do, you're the best with what you do. And I was like, that was probably one of the best compliments I've ever had.
Yeah, I know. So, I get it. That makes perfect sense.
So,
I'm looking him up here to see if I can find that.
Find what?
Find that band. Name of that band.
And this isn't. He is fantastic as a singer too, but you do have a showmanship to the way you perform. I think that's probably what
that band also. I mean, Tyson was doing a lot of other projects at the time.
When is he not doing a lot of other?
Well,
projects?
Tom Black had filled in on bass, and he did not have that kind of energy that Tyson had.
Sure, yeah.
So there was a lot of things that started fading out.
I just remember it was almost in a completely different lineup by the time it ended, and then he did a finale show that you sang in at that farm. Remember that farmhouse?
Oh, yeah.
Or that was 2012, and then they did the reunion show in 2017 at Kansas Hall. Yeah, I remember that. Oh. Yeah, and so that was then all the original members had come back and stuff.
That was amazing. I mean, because it was really hard to get everybody together again to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, that was one of the best shows.
I missed it. I was not there for that.
Yep, the old Kansas Hall days. Yeah,
I remember that place. Yeah, that's good.
So I was going to segue now into how long, what's your journey becoming a hairstylist? Because this is, anybody out there is not familiar, that's Mole's day job now. He's a hairstylist. Yeah. And I remember you talking about it in the beginning before you even started going to a school for it, and I'm going to do this. And then you did it. So take us back to that. Like, when did you start thinking about it? I think you've indicated before that you've always been drawn to hairstyling
my whole life.
And then you would talk, and then, so take us back to that.
I don't know how PC you are on this thing. Because
I don't know. What's that mean?
It means it gets kind of rough. I mean, the reason why I didn't do hair was there was a reason for it.
Oh, go for it.
So this is a story. It's
okay. Sure.
Yeah.
So when I was in the 6th grade, I went to the nursing home to visit my grandmother with my mom. And every nursing home, I'm assuming they still do this, where they have like picture day, or they have people come in and dress them up, deals, people make them feel special. They do their hair, they do their makeup, and all this stuff. We walked in, and I've never rarely, maybe one other time, saw my mom cry. And we walked in, and my grandmother looked like a clown. Like, they had blue makeup over her eyes. Her hair looked flat. It wasn't curled. And my grandmother was the very first woman vice president of a bank in America. Like, she was very foo-foo. Wow. Very foo-foo.
Yeah.
And, I mean, diamonds and pearls and big hair, and I mean, she just went all out, fur coats and
like Mrs. Howell. That's
and
what
my mom very much. Yeah, actually, that was really good. And my mom was just beat up over this, and she started crying, and my grandmother had dementia. She didn't know really what was going on, and I hugged my mom and I was like, it's okay. It's okay. You know, she'll look normal tomorrow. She goes, it's not that. I just don't want this happening to me one day. And I was like, well, I'll make sure that doesn't happen to you. Like, and I think that's when the seed was planted. And so my whole life, I've always noticed hair. I've always noticed makeup. I've always noticed all this stuff. But being the fact that I was born in 1974, there's only one kind of guy back then that did
Barbers.
hair. No. Hairstylists. There was only one. You're following.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Shannon's following.
But also the old school barber shop. You know that. You know,
I'm not a barber.
Right. Exactly.
So you're a hairstylist.
Yeah, and so and I'm not that kind of guy. Yeah, I'm as hetero as it gets.
Yeah, that's fine.
And again, it's just totally fine.
It's just a label.
As I got older, more and more hetero men started getting into that industry, and now it's very common. I was having, and as you know, I worked for Sprint for years, and I remember I had a really bad day at work, and I'm not going to get in that stuff right now, but I had a really bad day at work, and I went to my mom's house, and she made me dinner, and we were just talking, and I was actually almost in tears, and she said, why don't you quit your job and go do hair? And she goes like, there's plenty of straight guys doing hair, and get over yourself. Like, and I was like, yeah, I know. And so she pushed me.
How were you at that point? How old are you, or were you when she said that?
It was about 11. Well, it was about 13 years ago.
13 years ago. Okay.
So still in your 30s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I apologize.
No.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
When did you start? Actually, when was the first time you did somebody's hair?
In hair school. I mean,
okay.
I'm sure there's a time or two where
did he say he went to hair school? Maybe I missed that. All right.
Sorry. I'm getting to that point. So she told me, she said, why don't you? She basically was like, why don't you go to hair school? You're not married. You don't have kids. You got nothing to lose. So I moved out of my apartment. I downgraded my car. I worked for a bowling alley, and I moved in with a good friend of mine. He's actually he's a musician, but I mean Eric Krager, yeah, he's a great guy. He plays out. It's hard to call him a musician because he's a computer genius, and that's what he does for a living. But he is a musician, and I moved in with him for a while. And that's when he and I became the Booze Brothers and started doing some gigs while I lived with him for some extra money. And but I went to hair school at that point in time, and I quit my job, and I just decided to quit everything to do this. And I don't think I ever, even in high school or even college, and I was a fraternity boy in college, so I had to have a certain grade point average, and I seriously, I worked my ass off to do what I could. And nice. I had a couple job offers. One was Bajin in Prairie Village, and another couple. And right before I was getting ready to start, that's right when my mom passed away.
And this is 2014.
Yes. And so I get a phone call from this salon. It's not around anymore. From the salon out in Waldo, and it was the only Paul Mitchell focused salon in Kansas City. And they said, "Hey, you didn't apply." And I was like, yeah, I know. There's like 300 students at my school that went over for the only Paul, because I went to Paul Mitchell's hair school. And I was like, yeah, they're like, we think you should. And so I went in there, and I mean, long story short, I never filled out an application. I never did my little audition on the little doll heads. I just started shadowing a guy that ended up later moving to LA, gave me all of his clients, and within a year and a half, 2 years, I was able to go independent, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
For about 10, 11 years, I've been doing hair now, and
good for you.
All by my lonesome. I rent a suite, and it's just me in my little room. So
yeah. Okay.
And is it, where is that suite at anyway? Is it
it's here in Johnson County.
No, but I mean, is it the one down
119th
that Holly works at?
No.
Or different? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Holly Albers?
Albers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that okay? Yeah. So I know. Yeah. Is it the same spot that it's always been, like next to the Quick Trip? Adjacent to the Quick Trip or whatever. But.
I mean, it's a little down the road. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Have you ever styled Brian Rice's hair?
No.
I mean,
Brian, for some weird reason, won't let me touch his hair.
Oh, huh.
He jumps he literally will
Crazy.
go like you picture a triangle. And you put me in the middle of that triangle. He goes to every point of that triangle. Will not come to me. It's one day I will touch the Rice's hair. Like one of these days.
One of these days. That's great, though. I guess I thought that you had been styling hair longer.
No.
Than that, than 13 years.
But it's crazy. There's a lot of people, and I'm 110% referral based. So I remember when I started, I had a lot of good friends of mine wanting to put my cards up around town and like in their bars, and I played in and stuff like that. I was like, no, I want. They say you are who your friends are. So I've always wanted to have a good vibe, a good energy in my salon. So every single person comes in, and it's funny because I've had Colby, and I've had he's gone through 3 different hairstyles with me. I've had Jim, who was coming in for a while, and he lives out in Blue Springs. So
Jim Bro,
it's tough.
the drummer for the band.
It's tough for him to keep coming back. I think he enjoyed it, but. And then, obviously you've seen Casey. So, but his son comes to see me. So,
Casey being of the bald persuasion.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Well, he shaves his head. Yeah.
Shaves his. Okay.
So let's talk about Colby's hairstyles.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Mohawk one.
Yeah.
Is that the first one he ever did, or is it just
no? He's done
rotate.
No, he's done different things here and there. He's just whatever's easiest for him. I mean, Colby enjoys water. He enjoys the river. He enjoys lakes, and he whatever he can ride a boat on and not have to worry about hair getting in his face and building up. This is probably the most convenient for him. It has become a look, but you don't want to really tell him it's become a look because he will probably want to change it.
Okay, well,
so he doesn't like being the guy that's
Colby, mute this part.
He won't be listening anymore.
Yeah.
Crying out loud.
I think everyone that started listening is probably out now.
Yeah.
I was like, what were we talking about? When ADD took over, I was like,
So is your thing the vibe? I mean, do you have a specialty when it comes to styling hair? Is there something that
I don't necessarily have a specialty, but I think I do best with just the standard men's cuts. Like, I'm not a barber. I am a stylist. But if you were to combine styling and barbering together on men, that's usually probably what I do best. But I do it all. I mean, I do color. I do all this highlighting and all that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I do not do makeup or nails. Like, I had planned. My mom. It was weird because we have to do a practical in hair school. I mean, you go in, you take a test and hands-on stuff. And the number one thing I aced that I got 100% on were nails. And so my mom looked at me and she goes, well, at least if you suck doing hair, you can do nails. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing nails, Mom. I'm sorry.
Is the majority is the majority of your clientele men or women?
It was kind of 50-50 until we haven't gotten to this, until my last surgery.
Okay, that's right. That was just a year ago. Yeah.
So and then I ended up losing a lot of people because I was off for quite some time, and I had to rebuild after that.
Right.
So I'd say it's probably 70% male now.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Let's transition. Go ahead. You want to
I
ask.
gotta get a beer. Actually, I'm gonna get a beer.
Are we going to take a
Anybody need
break?
anything? Yeah. Why don't we take a break first?
We're going to take a short. We're about an hour in, so we'll probably go another 20 to 30 minutes after this little break. So we're going to stop here.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
That's
all
it.
right.
My girlfriend Kay said the same thing. What I tell her is
there a side here? Okay.
We grew up poor. And so that's my mom. That was one of the things. If we're poor, that's fine, but we're going to be clean. And so that's kind of where it all stems from.
Nice.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay, we are back and we are recording.
God,
again,
let's not start with that. We got to cut.
Oh,
that
you're right.
part
I didn't even have
I
my.
usually
cut that
I usually
out.
let it just to have a nice.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't have my ear
bathroom.
Talking about eating off Shannon's bathroom floor.
Yeah, I did. I was literally in there
just my bathroom floor, by the way.
All right, nice. Well, anyway, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed by your place, man.
Well, thanks. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks for the beer. Thanks for the whiskey.
Yeah,
they're trying to get me
welcome.
shit faced so I can.
So we're going out after
Tell
this,
bad
right?
stories. Yeah. So you could tell controversial stories about all the band drama.
Oh man, yeah. Boy, off camera we did. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. No,
Now,
we
do
did not.
you have hair appointments tomorrow? Do you have work to do tomorrow?
No, I'm off Sundays and Mondays, and I will tell you right now, I am done taking on new kids because school's starting, and I had no idea what was happening until I worked about 62 hours last week.
And it's all kids.
I had to work on my days off last week because I'm
Doing the broccoli cut. Is that it?
Holy shit, you are on par.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
I'm
what.
in
Yeah,
touch.
it's not the alpaca anymore. It's now the broccoli.
Yeah, it's got to be high and tight on the sides.
That's right.
And mop on the top.
Yep, you're damn right, man. That's exactly what it is. How did you know that?
You know what? I'm a kid at heart.
Yeah, but that's kind of the kids don't even call it that. That's what the adults call the kids behind their back. No, it's that's exactly what's going on. It's and it's it's actually pretty difficult because the really fancy kids want a real tight fade. They want to look really nice, and then the top just goes.
Yeah, right. Just barely touch it.
Right.
So, are you pretty good with that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, what about how are you with beards? Do you
Great.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not a barber, so I
Sure,
just
yeah.
I just kind of I trim them up, I shape them up. Like I've got the tools to do that, but I don't use like a straight edge, and I don't like put a hot towel on or anything like that. But
Yeah. No. Cool.
I actually like to keep. I mean, for Johnson County standards, I like to keep things pretty cheap. So usually I do everything I can to keep the cost down for everyone. So
Nice. Okay. Good for you. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I was just going to go into, no. Like the cost.
Brian just said no to whiskey.
No, the
Are you
cost.
okay?
The costs of running a salon and versus you mentioned how you try to keep everything cheap.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Okay.
Nobody wants to hear about it. I mean, my suite where I'm at, I mean, and
is it a kiosk or just when you say suite, is it like an enclosed like room or just like or a kiosk?
Okay, it's a it's basically it's a little room.
Okay.
It's actually almost identical. It's the same size as this room here.
Okay.
So if you know the size of this room, that's
No.
okay. Could you ballpark it? Because that's
8 by
10, 12.
okay. There, that's the size of my
16
suite.
maybe.
Yeah. So that's about the size of my suite. So obviously I'm really good at math. No, it's I pay $320 a week for that place.
Okay.
And I also have a mortgage, and it's about the same. So it's a struggle,
Right.
but I love it. I mean, I was telling someone the other day that when I left corporate America, like 15 years ago, it's actually like 13, but I was making at that, like today, I'm still making half of what I made when I was there, but I am 1,000% happier.
Hey, yeah, you're your own boss as well.
Yeah.
I
mean, things got a little reset around the pandemic, and then I had, I think we're going to hit the surgery thing in a minute, but like, when I had surgery within the last year or so, that kind of hit me pretty hard. But I mean, I'm still pretty damn happy with what I do.
Now, when you say hit you pretty hard, you're not just talking about the clientele that you lost, but
I lost clientele. I lost
physical demands of it.
Right. There was a lot of stuff that took a toll. So I mean, I've had to really. I mean, not to be cliche or try not to be anti-humble, but I really had to fight back, man. And it's funny we're here talking about music a lot, and last night I hopped up on stage and with the Stolen Winnebagos, and do you remember my trademark jump?
Yeah.
Okay. I did mostly for I didn't do flagpole sitter, but it was basically that same kind of hop that I would do, just the toe hop, and I was able to get some airtime, and it made me so happy. It was the first time I've been able to jump on that leg since.
And this is because the surgery involved one of your legs.
They had to rip the muscle completely out. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about this then. I mean, what happened?
Was this a fallout from your cancer surgery or totally different?
Well, there's speculation that possibly the chemo from cancer might have caused the deterioration of the arteries in my body. But I actually have been diagnosed with a peripheral artery disease called atherosclerosis. So it may not have been that.
Okay.
And it's genetic. And again, my mom passed away, 12 years ago, something like that. And my father passed away in 95. My grandparents have been gone. I don't have any relatives to really look at and say, oh, I got it from that. So I don't really know. But yeah, I was at work and I blew out an artery basically in my leg.
Man.
And to do the surgery on that, they had to basically rip the muscle out of my leg. And it's a surgery they've only done 3 times ever. In the entire United States.
No kidding.
Because it usually happens to people who are in their 80s and they just amputate. So, yeah.
Wow. So the alternative was...
It was two. I had a choice. Either amputate or we can try to repair this. And if it doesn't work...
Then you have to amputate.
How'd that go?
No,
How'd
because
that happen?
when they open that up, there are clots that just go flying through your body. So I actually died for a few minutes on that table. I had one of the clots hit my heart. Yeah. So it was pretty intense.
Dang.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was super intense.
And were you unconscious, I'm assuming, during that time?
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't...
1,000%.
But they just told you, oh, by the way...
You flatlined for a few minutes.
Yeah, the only complication to anything that's ever happened to me, I actually had an angioplasty about 3 months ago, and they had to clear out another artery that was getting, because the atherosclerosis, and they actually couldn't get me up from the anesthesia. So I don't know if I've had anesthesias now too many times. It's caused like me to get ADD, because I never had ADD until like recently. Now I'm like, well, I'm all over the place. But no, I remember the nursing staff and the doctors trying to get me up, and
like stand up or
no,
wake
get
up?
my heart rate up.
Oh, get your heart rate
Yeah,
up.
it was real bad. I was bottomed out, and
Gosh.
I was like, I just wanted to go to sleep. I just remember I was so, it was like a euphoria. I was like, no, I'm okay. I just like, no, wait, come on, man, come on, you guys. I'm like, why is everybody freaking out right now? I just wanted to go to sleep, but they finally got me. They kept doing all kinds of whatever they were doing. They got my blood pressure back up, and
thank God.
my first thing, I was like, can I have a coffee? Like, I don't think you could probably have coffee, and but they came back with one.
Okay.
It's like,
And this
after
was
it
just 3 months
It was
ago.
like Pac-Man eating a freaking pill, and I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
This was just 3 months ago.
Yeah. It was an angioplasty.
This was just like a follow-up from...
No, I had another build. So I go every 3 to 6 months, and this will be for the rest of my life, to get an ultrasound on my leg where the bypass is.
Okay.
So what they had to do is they had to repair that. They were going to give me a bovine artery and like a cow artery, but they said he's too young and he'll reject it in 5 years. So.
Yeah.
So what they did was they cut into my other leg, and I'll try to keep this tame because a lot of people have weak stomachs, but they basically got into my other leg and borrowed an artery from that leg. It's called a popliteal bypass, and they took the popliteal artery from that leg, stitched that artery back together, went into the leg where it had blown out, where I had the aneurysm, and they basically fused it together. There's a term I'm looking for. I can't think of it right now because you keep giving me all this alcohol. It's what's the word? You guys know the term. It's like
It's a vascular fusion.
basically.
So
I can't think of the
it's called,
term. I can't think of the term. Anyway, but basically they fused it together and put me back together, shoved my muscle back in my leg, and
put it all in
and
there, zip it up.
and it was bad. I mean, do you guys ever off camera want to see some pictures? It'll blow your mind. My leg looked like a freaking. It was bigger than my head.
With that day, I mean, did you know something was wrong when it first happened?
I actually knew it happened. I think the aneurysm actually happened when I was mowing the lawn.
Oh shit!
I was something happened. I thought I pulled a muscle, and I looked back, and there was like a starburst on the back of my calf, and I was like, "What is that?" And it just was huge, like red mark. And I was at work, and it started hurting really bad. Like really bad, and that's when I went into the hospital, and they're like, "Oh shit, you need to figure out some stuff." And then I actually had to get. This is what the only part of the whole thing that scared me is my doctor was like, "Get your will together, get everything situated. This is not good." So I was very
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that is
pretty scary.
cutting edge.
Yeah,
And then your best friend Eric, didn't he move in with you to take care of you during your recovery or something?
yeah, yeah. We've been friends for like. Well, I mean, you do the math. We did. Again, I'm bad with math, but probably 35 years.
Yeah.
This is,
and we about ended our friendship when that happened.
Colby's brother, Eric.
That's Colby's brother.
Just the stress of dealing with that.
No, man. I'm very, very over the top independent. Now I've already talked about losing like my family. I mean, I don't have my brother passed away. I have my mom. I mean,
and you have one more
parents
brother that kind of comes and goes, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, we're still chit chatting. I mean, things are pretty good now.
But he disappeared for a while.
He did. After my mom died, he just needed to get away. When I was healing, and I was in a hospital bed. And they wanted me to get like a nurse, like an in-home nurse. So Eric took some time off work. He's like, I'll help you out. Well, Eric kind of used it as a little bit of a vacation, and he was just drinking beer, hanging out, or whatever. And he was in and out. And I'd hear him vacuuming, and I'm not a control freak, but I think just under the situation and not being in control of my own life, I didn't want him. I was yelling at him all the time. I was just screaming. I was like, just stop, just God. I was just being a dick. I was such a dick to him. Like, I still to this day apologize. I actually talked to him the other day. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. He was like, the thing I think where I drew the line was when you were yelling at me about the vacuum cleaner. And that's why I just brought that up, because I don't even remember that. I don't remember that at all. He
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
how do I vacuum the wrong way? I was like, I don't know, but somehow I was yelling about vacuuming the wrong way. Yeah, it was not good. So I think, yeah.
You were under a lot of stress and probably on some drugs.
A
and,
lot of stress. And,
You know, yeah.
Well, I wasn't just on like prescribed drugs. I was, you know, marijuana is legal
drugs.
in Missouri for
Oh,
crying out
yeah,
loud,
you know what?
so.
We're 420 friendly around here. Whatever. You know. Well, hey, you know, thank God you didn't lose a leg over that shit.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, it's I mean, aside from what's going on inside, I feel I'm back to normal. I mean, I still have a few more pounds to lose, but I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I'm trying to think of like where we, you know, you've talked about, we talked recently about your desire to start a new band. I mean, how's that coming along? Is that something, or
how can we help
wait,
you with
wait,
that?
this is still on the DL, so maybe I'll edit this out.
Yeah, let's get this out.
I told you at the beginning before the cameras were rolling. I was like, "Hey, if you want to embarrass me, do it for ratings. I don't care, man. Do it."
I was like, "Oh yeah, we were talking." Then, wait, he said.
I don't. If anybody's still sticking around, you probably dropped a few draws because I've been telling everybody I've been retired for a while. And even though I hop up on stage from time to time, I'm still retired. And I think it's a mental rush that I'm healing and doing so good with my surgery. So I beat cancer. I beat this artery thing. I think I really, and I know we talked about the larynx thing too, but I really I was gonna try something like pop punk, but I've got an idea for something else. And again, I still want to lose another probably 10 pounds. I gained about 50 after my surgery, and I've lost about 35 of it. So. But yeah, I think I really do. I mean, I've got some guys in mind I want to call. And,
have you thought about your original stuff, your songs that you've written?
You know, I don't know. I don't like playing for pizza and beer. I just and
fine.
it's
Is that what
nobody.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody wants to. Nobody knows the songs. So
you.
you know, it's kind of like, and that was a big struggle. I mean, one of my favorite local bands, and there's a lot of original local bands, and I don't want to push anybody because a lot of them are very, very good.
No,
but my all-time favorite, even on top of the original lineup of Puddle of Mud, on top of everybody that's ever come from Kansas City, Redline Chemistry.
Oh, hey, sure,
was hands down my favorite band.
They were great.
I still hit them up on. They're on my Spotify playlist, man.
Yeah,
and you know. I don't know what happened with that whole thing and that band, but I am assuming it, again, was money. And it's just really hard to keep things going when you're an original band and you're just not making that break you need and playing for that beer and pizza.
So, gosh, what was, man, is it?
So, yeah, I'd love to play my, if I won the lottery, that's all I'd do. I literally would start a band. I'd do my original music, whether I made money doing it or not. That's what I would do.
For it.
Right. But I don't, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
At 50 years old, it's tough to put that much effort into something and not get anything.
Well, I think
back
one
from
thing
it.
that we need is you doing more stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate
that. To what you're comfortable with. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else? We may be wrapping toward the end on this.
Okay.
But I was like, I feel like there's
Brian,
one
you've
more
known me how many years?
15.
You realize that we could literally talk for hours, so you could come up with anything you want.
Right. Yeah. Well, no. I think we're on the verge of
man.
we're on the verge of just getting into gossip about women we used to know and stuff like that.
I don't need to know about airline stewardesses and one thing, you guys look very much alike, and
we do.
Yes, you guys.
No
do.
way! I've never heard that in my life. No, I mean our hair's been compared before, but like it's like we got number one, number two. That's but no one's ever said that we look. Have you heard that? I've never heard that.
Thing one, thing two.
What's that?
Nothing one, thing two from Dr. Seuss. No, okay,
no.
But I do like when you guys get together. It's fun. The interactions between you both are very.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I look at Brian Rice like almost like a cousin in a way. No, it's true. I mean, you wouldn't say brothers, right?
Correct.
I mean, you're like the cousin that comes into town. And you're like, we always, we get along, we talk, we're always there for each other. Like, yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Right on. Yeah,
really appreciate you coming over and
thanks for having me. Man. Like for real, it's been fun. It really has.
This.
I mean, I missed out on the closing ceremony of the Olympics, the NASCAR race. My driver was at number 2 when I sat down. I'm super over the top hungover today. But hey, no, it's been great.
Things you'll do for Brian Rice.
Right.
Really is what it is.
It was my fault. He was like, "Hey, what works for you? What day are you doing?" Nothing, and I was like. let's do Sunday evening. And that was my fault. So
Do you have anything coming up, by the way, real quick?
no, but I will say, I will announce this. Colby and I are actually looking for a venue. So we
play
are
on a regular-
looking.
All right.
We're actually thinking about starting Colby and Mole and Plug back up somewhere.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
As opposed to you just sitting in with him at Murphy's Corner, it's just a whole different venue and a whole separate
Right,
thing.
right.
Okay.
Now, that's his gig. That's his thing.
Okay.
I mean, and it became his thing at Grinders too. And every once in a while, he'll have a guest. Like he'll have Casey come up with him.
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind when that happens,
He has to split the money.
he loses money.
Okay.
Right. Right. And that's what he does for a living. So
Right.
it's very important to him. That's like my job. You know?
Sure,
It's like
I
you
get
can't you cancel on me, I'm losing money.
Right.
You know. So
I get
so
it.
it's
So finding a venue for you to sit in
Yeah.
and do a thing. Okay.
yeah.
That's
So-
awesome.
And there's a couple ideas out there we've kind of tossed around here and there, and it's not set in stone. We don't know if it's actually going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You may not see me with Colby for another year. Who knows?
Right.
But it will definitely be the 51st birthday because we do that every year. It's a tradition. We always do the birthday gig. So
I was happy to be with you on your 50th.
thanks, man. That was cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It was cool.
Well, I think that's a wrap, guys. Let's
You gonna hit
let's
your little
play it-
button?
Let's play it
Hey.
out.
All right.
This has been Kansas City Nights with our special guest Jayson Molnar.
Yeah,
Thanks
you.
for showing up. Appreciate it.
Right. More. He wants more. There you go.
I'm the mole and I'm out.
All right. All right.
Thanks,
Good night,
man.
everybody.
Appreciate you.